Hey guys, welcome back to Total Tactics Football. It's Fran here, and we'll be finally looking at our Game Week 1 team. Probably going to be my final team. You won't be releasing any changes until tomorrow's deadline stream. Don't make any kind of panic moves, but I'm pretty happy with this team, and I'm pretty happy to debut a 4-4-2 team. I think the key kind of difference between the last team that I debuted, of course, is the change in formation. Of course, this is largely due to the fact that I wanted to keep Son in the team, and I wanted to find a way to play with that kind of 15.5 million budget. So it was either going to be picking between options such as Mahrez and perhaps Tony, Bamford, and perhaps someone like Gundogan or even Greenwood. But ultimately, I've kind of rested on having Son in my team, and the reason why I kind of like Son is because, simply put, he's one of the best finishers in the league, and we know that. And he also kind of gives me the flexibility to go down into players that I think I might have made a mistake on, or that players that I think will suddenly perform better. It also allows me to kind of monitor the Sancho situation, which I like a little bit more than Greenwood, to be honest, because I think with Greenwood, I expect him to have a probably a hot start, but then I think that the large amount of points will probably fall into Sancho, who potentially could become, you know, the talismanic player or the second talismanic player for Man United, which would be huge because we know Man United is a fantastic goal scoring side. And for that reason, I think I've kept Son so that I can be a bit more flexible with those kind of top priced players. Um, Digne is the one who kind of fits into the side, as I mentioned, because with Rafa Benitez coming in, I think the kind of key uh, part of why he's an interesting manager and has been for many clubs in recent memory is because his ability to kind of shore the ship. And we saw that in Newcastle, really. I think he has the ability to do that, even though he's probably had a rather kind of short preseason due to the fact that players have been kind of all around the world playing international competitions, and players like Richarlison are coming late, DCL coming in with a toe injury. So I'm not exactly expecting a fantastic Game Week 1 for Digne, but I see the potential to have a very stable, strong kind of opening period, even before a wild card. And for me, I think Digne will kind of stand, pass the eye test and also hopefully benefit from what Benitez can do to the defensive structure. Because when we look at Digne as a player, you look at his expected assists, he really ranks around one of the top two, three players in the league, at least players that are active, right? Because Robertson is injured right now, and simply put, I don't think there's a better left back than Digne in terms of actually being able to create chances other than Shaw. And of course, you can see Shaw is in my team, and he's pretty template, so there's no kind of real discussion about that. With Digne, I think you have a player who will be able to deliver probably more when Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes in. He'll probably be hurt a little bit by Game Week 1, but I don't really want to kind of book in a transfer just so I can get to Digne by Game Week 2. Some people might be a bit more tempted by maybe starting with a Chelsea defender and then kind of pivoting after that point. But I do have a little bit more faith in Digne, and I don't really want to kind of book in a transfer early in advance, and that's why I've kept Digne in my team. The rest of the defenders are pretty clear cut. I think you might want to probably question why I've kind of dropped to Marty, and I think simply put it's due to the fact that the Vestergaard transfer is looming in so close, and I'd rather kind of have a player like Omu Bamidele who can actually be a bench option that gives me 2 points rather than someone like Amarte who probably falls off my team in the face of the earth, to be honest, in Game Week 2. And so that's kind of how I feel about that. And as we know with Sanchez, he's just simply a 4.5 keeper that I think I have a little bit more faith on. I don't think it's a high ceiling, but his kind of high enough floor is what I want for a 4.5 keeper. And if there really is a situation where, let's say, another Martinez props up, then of course I'll try to adjust to that. But for now, I think I'm pretty set with my keeper. When we move away from the defense, I've gone for, as you know, a midfield of Son, and I've explained kind of why I've gone into Son. I think Salah and Fernandez are very, very template in that sense. Now, of course, the big differential there, of course, is going to be that Benrahma pick, and simply put, I think there are some fantastic options at 7.5. I listed them out. I mean, all of Barnes, Gundogan, Jota, and Greenwood, Barnes, of course, being a 7.0 player, are fantastic options, in my opinion. Even pivoting to Pepe in Game Week 4 becomes a very strong likelihood and fantastic possibility. But for me, I just really wanted to start the season with Benrahma because I think that kind of double up with Antonio can actually pay a lot of dividends. I think people are sometimes scared to go for partnerships at the start of the season, but for me, I I really have been watching kind of West Ham's preseason games just to kind of get a feel. I was actually kind of watching them, to be honest, to watch how Bowen would get along, but I ended up being actually a little bit much more, or rather much more impressed with Benrahma, and his ability to really effectuate the games versus some top teams such as Atalanta, kind of showing his like his full arsenal in terms of that beautiful finesse kick versus Brentford, and then some of the kind of assists that he displayed as well, just really tells me that I think he is set for a great season. I think, it's not outlandish to think that Benrahma can really kick on from what he provided last season. Even when you look statistically, he was actually West Ham's second kind of key chance creator on a per 90 minutes basis. And you'll think that's weird because, of course, Lingard got off to such a crazy start as soon as he got into the West Ham shirt and team. But Benrahma was someone who showed a lot of great glimpses in his few minutes, and now with Lingard not coming back into the side, I think Benrahma can really shine this season, and he's my kind of punt that I would like. And for me, I like the fact that you can pivot into players like Harrison and Sarr at 6.0, and ultimately, if I have to downgrade someone like Son, then of course I'll have the opportunity to also move up to potentially some of those 6.5 players, right? Now, I think one of the key misses, of course, in my team is Rafinha. And you could arguably say that I don't have a real solid reason to get there or way to get there unless I'm downgrading Son, and that's a fair point. That was a consideration I kind of made because I looked at the fixtures, and whilst you can argue that Leeds can score in any game week, I still think that if you really wanted to attack game weeks 1 and 4 with a Leeds player, it would be Bamford in my opinion, and I think that's someone I'm kind of still opening my eyes to, depending on how Ings performs. And you'll see Ings, of course, lower down on my team. But ultimately, for me, I just wanted to punt with Benrahma, and I think that's the kind of difference maker in my team that could still, put me in good stead, even though I might not have the strongest game weeks 1 and 2. For me, of course, you also question, as I said, why I didn't go for Barnes, Gundogan, and Jota. And simply put, it's because I kind of valued keeping Trent in my team as well. I think that was a little bit of a deliberation there. I mean, arguably you can kind of take out Trent and go for Jota, who once again probably will have better game weeks 1 and 2, but it's more about keeping a kind of medium term structure for my team and having some flexibility to kind of move out of players, right? Because I mean, when you think about it, I can kind of make changes with, let's say, my strikers who are obviously a little bit higher in price. I can kind of either stretch that to go into someone like Lukaku if I feel like he's really starting to pile the pressure on even before game week 7, or I can actually kind of downgrading someone to Tony if he's on a red hot start and I'm kind of chasing a price rise. But for now, I think Ings is probably the safer option, and I think there's still time and capacity for me to go into Tony. I mean, if he starts to look fantastic, I mean, I wouldn't even mind catching him at a 7.0 price. I think that's the expectation for a talismanic player for Brentford. If we're saying that they can kind of reach 14th, 15th and actually escape relegation, then Tony will be a fantastic option even if he has risen in price and I'm a little bit late on the train. And ultimately, fantasy is a marathon, it's not a sprint. The game weeks 1 and 2 I don't think are absolutely fantastic for my team, but I think I like the kind of safety that my team possesses right now, and I still have the opportunity to really move into any player in the game that I like, and for that reason I've gone for this kind of 4-4-2 team. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Feel free to kind of comment your teams as well. If you have any questions, of course, leave them down below. We'll also be kind of addressing as much as possible in tomorrow's deadline stream, so hope to catch you guys there. But otherwise, I just want to kind of make a statement as well that, fantasy is a long season. Mental health is really important as well. I want you guys to not get too upset, not get too excited in game week 1. It really is a long season, and the true test of most FPL managers is simply how they're able to kind of adjust as things are being thrown your way, in the season. We saw that last year with COVID and all those kind of adjustments that we had to make. And ultimately, I wish you guys the best of luck in game week 1, and I'll see you guys soon.